What is up, everybody, and welcome back, and welcome into Season 2 of The War Within. It's been a while since we've done some Mythic Plus content, but it's time to get back into it. We are going to try to push, once again, the 0.01% title. Now, if you have seen the previous videos, we did not make it last time. Spoiler alert. We were playing Holy Paladin in Season 4 of Dragonflight, which was just terrible. The class was awful. I mean, we did get like 3,200 or something like that, but we were just playing a terrible healer that season. So, we're gonna try it again this season. And the main question is, what healer should we play this season? So, put the key in, pull timer, and let's go. So if you haven't figured it out yet, we are playing Disciplined Priest. So we hop on, and the first thing I decided to do is go kill the new world boss. You know, there's a chance of getting some loot there. But no, we didn't get anything, of course. So now what else is there to do other than just to start queuing up and doing some +2s? Now we could have started off by going running some delves or running some mythic zeros or heroics or whatever, but come on, who actually wants to do that? So we got Finara with us, our main tank, so he's just gonna knock out some keys with us, which should make it a little bit easier so we don't have to just queue from straight nothing. So why are you playing Disciplined Priest, one might ask? Well, it's your fault. You're the reason why I'm playing Disciplined Priest. I have to say, I think all healers right now in Season 2 are actually in a really good spot. Now the issue is, the average WoW player goes onto YouTube, watches a tier list, and sees which classes, which healers are at the very top, and then that's the healer that they're gonna pick for the rest of the season regardless. And as somebody who mainly pugs groups, even if I'm the best Holy Paladin player in the world, which I'm not, okay, I'm not. However, if I was, it would still be very hard. You end up waiting in queue for way too long. And when I play, I want to get on and I want to hop into keys and start playing. I don't want to sit in a queue for 30 minutes and then get into a group, wipe on the first pull, and then go back to queue for another 30 minutes. So my choices really were Disciplined Priest, Restoration Druid, or Mistweaver Monk, because that's kind of like the SA tier healers right now. I didn't want to play Druid because I didn't want to shapeshift constantly back and forth, do damage in cat form, come back out. It's just an obnoxious playstyle. So I almost actually picked Mistweaver Monk, but then thought about it and I was like, you know what? I'll get PI and I can PI people. So we're playing Disciplined Priest now. So because we didn't really play this character at all last season, we're starting out at an item level of 603 with 0 set. Yeah, we didn't get 2 set or 4 set or nothing last season, so it's pretty much just a fresh character going into Season 2. So after knocking out a few +2s that were complete learning experiences, and we completely messed up on all of the mechanics, and then I also spent some time trying to get that ring from the Siren Isles because we did not get that either. So now we're going to hop into the new raid, which I'm actually really excited about. And on a quick side note, I actually really like Undermine, just like the zone in general. I think it's really, really cool. I had my doubts about this and about this season, but so far I actually really enjoy it. Unfortunately, by the end of the raid, we only ended up winning 1 ring, which wasn't all that great, but you know, an upgrade is an upgrade. And then by the time we got to Gallywix, guys, I'm sorry, but Disc Priest healing in raid is actually probably the hardest healer that I've had to ever heal on in a raid. So when we got to Gallywix, I just had to hop onto my Paladin, even though it's only geared from last season, but it's still geared enough to be in here. And I knew I could heal way better on my Paladin than I could on the Priest. My Priest just wasn't doing anything for anybody in the raid. But we'll get there though, you know, it's only week 1. And on top of that, with the full clear, we will be getting a full vault in for next week as well. So that is a plus. Alright, so I'm not going to bore you guys with talking about all the +2s and 3s and stuff we ran. That's not important. And I also no-lived it a little bit. I did take off work to play this season, so by the end of day 2, which is here, we actually ended up reaching Keystone Master at 2000 IO. And by this time, we were also at an item level of 640, so we did get like 40 item levels worth in the past 2 days. And after a few more keys, I decided I couldn't wait, so I had 2 hero track pieces of gear, a headpiece, and some hands, and I thought, you know what, we want 2 set. We have nothing right now, and this will help us progress in our keys so much. So at the start of the season, you automatically got 1 catalyst charge, and then when reaching 2k, you get another catalyst charge. And it's different than last season. You use it as a catalyst charge rather than just getting to pick out a piece of gear, which is kind of lame, but it's fine, it's whatever. And hopefully this doesn't bite us in the butt come week 2, where we get a good piece of tier gear in the vault, but we had already used it on the head or the hands. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully we can get 4 set next week. Now I wanted to take a minute and talk about how I have been enjoying Disc Priest so far. And to be honest, this is a really fun class, but there's one thing that I have been struggling with that I've never had to deal with on my Holy Paladin, or even the Restoration Druid at that. And that is being a caster. Yep, I am so fed up with mechanics that require me to move. And this boss, for example, Swamp Face in Operation Floodgate, this was the hardest boss for me week 1. We ended up doing a +10 multiple times, and I just told myself, I said, hey, I think this is overtuned to begin with, for 1. And 2, it's super hard, and I'm just not super skilled at Disc Priest right now. So I'm not going to do this boss until it gets nerfed. Because sure enough, it's going to get nerfed. It's a hard boss. You can kind of tell when bosses are going to get nerfed, and this is one of them. So after this horrible run that we had on this +10, I just decided we're not doing this again. And this is not the only boss that has been giving me a lot of trouble. The other bosses are like the big candle boss and Dark Flame Cleft. There's a lot of movement in there as well. And then the last boss in Motherlode, that boss is ridiculous right now. And finally, the first boss of Cinderbrew, that guy is insane for trying to heal as a casting Discipline Priest. It is very difficult. Now, the nerfs have already come out at this point, so I know there was a all-around 10% nerf that did make some of these dungeons a little bit easier, and then a lot of the stuff did get nerfed later on as well. So that was super helpful, especially on that first boss of Cinderbrew, where they nerfed how much those drunken guys throw, all that damage that goes out, so that was huge. Still waiting for a nerf for Swamp Face. And one of the biggest issues that I had with the last boss of Motherlode specifically is when he goes into that phase 2 where he flies up, those little ads that come down do so much damage, and they just don't stop shooting, and they just keep shooting and shooting and shooting, and everyone's taking damage, and it's just very difficult to heal through, especially because you can't CC, you can't stun, you can't do anything to those guys. You just have to kill them fast, and then you're trying to get to the pillar before the thing falls down, and I'm just trying to keep everyone alive, and we died many times during that, just trying to do that. So those are just some frustrations that I've had week 1 specifically. Maybe you guys have experienced the same thing. If you have, you're not alone. I'm out here struggling with the same stuff you guys are. If, you're playing a healer class that doesn't require casting, and you're just, walking around and healing and insta-casting like a Holy Paladin or something, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad it's easy for you, because us casters over here, we're struggling. So the last key that we ran that actually gave me a Mythic Plus rating score, some extra points, is going to be this +9 Motherlode. And so we're going to end off week 1 at a rating of 2395. Now, mind you, I did 5 or 6 more keys after this. I did a couple 10 workshops, some 10 floodgates, and I did a 10 Motherlode, and we bricked every single one of them. So it was a little rough. This is the last key we ended up actually getting points for, though. I also forgot to mention too, we ended up crafting a back piece at 675, so we did get enough of the crest to do that. So we're gonna end up the week with a item level of 653 as well, after we put these shoes on. Alright guys, that's all I have for this week. Like I said, we probably ran well over 30 keys this week, so I just kind of summarized how the entire weekend. We'll get into more specifics and stuff as the weeks to come. But thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. We're almost to 1,000 subs, so I appreciate every single one of you. and we'll catch you guys in the next one.